Few dispute the global airline industry is facing its biggest ever crisis. The economic havoc unleashed by COVID-19 has grounded most carriers. In Europe, Air France, British Airways and Lufthansa have all announced tens of thousands of redundancies. Low-cost companies like EasyJet and Ryanair also plan huge job cuts. The skies over Europe right now look pretty bleak. COVID-19 has propelled the aviation industry into a brutal fight for market share. Some low-cost carriers have already begun putting massive pressure on their staff. Some call it blackmail redundancy. In Frankfurt, we meet Francesca Rinaldi, a flight attendant for Europe's biggest low-cost carrier, Ryanair. She also sits on a bargaining committee representing the airline staff in Germany. Salaries are low, between 1,200 and 2,200 euros a month. Every day, Francesca connects with the carrier's other unionised cabin crew in other parts of Europe. They fear pay cuts.
What's the situation in France?
In France, the company has proposed to reduce our salaries by 10% and also cut our working hours. That would see salaries fall to 900 euros a month net, which is the poverty line in France. This is a form of blackmail because they said quite clearly that if we don't accept this proposal, the company will be forced to cut 27 surplus cabin crew posts.
Connecting with Gustavo, another Ryanair flight attendant and trade union leader based in Spain, Francesca explains the current situation in Germany.
Here in Germany, they are threatening implicitly, but also pretty explicitly, with the surplus of 571 cabin crew out of 940. So they want to get rid of almost 60% of the cabin crew here in Germany. So I wanted to know what is the situation in Spain if you are, let's say, being blackmailed or under threat.
We have Ryanair saying that we either sign or if we don't sign, we will have 351 people to be fired, and that's it. So this is not negotiating. This is dictating. And at the same time, go down on the remaining working conditions. So this is a proper social dumping. The mother of one child had to go to Red Cross to ask for food because she didn't have enough money to survive, not even 10 days in a month.
Heading to Francesca's favourite spot to watch planes at Frankfurt Airport, bad news comes in from Prague. Ryanair has fired 3 unionised leaders of the bargaining committee in the Czech Republic. It means Francesca's counterparts in that country are now jobless.
All the airlines are facing a crisis and every airline is now negotiating. If we do allow Ryanair to do aviation dumping again, as they did already in the 90s, we are basically giving the authorization to all the other airlines, as they did already before, to just copy-paste the Ryanair model. This is just something that we have to avoid with all our strengths, and this is what we are keeping on fighting for.
Euronews asked Ryanair for an interview at a location and time of their choosing. The company refused.
Yeah, somehow it was a dream of your life for you.
Yes, yeah, totally. Let's say, it was my dream since I was a kid, because you have to understand that I'm the last one of 5 daughters from a very, let's say, old-fashioned family from the south of Italy. So I always wanted to break free, to travel.
How this situation is impacting you and your colleagues?
There is the fear of being fired, there is the fear of not arriving to the end of the month, there is emotional imbalance, there is people who is now going to psychologists, there is people who cannot sleep. And when you are talking about a person taking care of 189 passengers, that can of course come to a lack of safety.
Cabin crew are not the only ones paying the price for the aviation sector's difficulties. Passengers are also struggling to get cancelled flights refunded. Basti and Binoche want their money back.
I think it was the right decision not to accept just what they say and do nothing. That's exactly what the company wants, for people to give up once they refuse a refund.
You're right not to accept it.
Basti and Binoche have been friends since nursery school. Together with other childhood friends, they had planned to fly to Mallorca with a low-cost carrier. Basti booked all the flights, but instead of enjoying a relaxing Easter holiday as the six friends did the year before, he's struggling to get a refund.
Well, Basti, because of COVID-19, our Mallorca trip was cancelled. The question remains, how will we get our money back? After all, we're talking about almost 1,700 euros that our group paid for flights, and of course, we need this money back.
I've already gone back to them several times. Regarding the outward flight, I filed 2 refund requests. Both were refused. As an alternative, they offered a voucher of lower value. Regarding my refunding request for our return flight, until now I haven't heard anything at all. 84% of Ryanair customers, just like us, are still waiting to get refunded for their cancelled flights.
That's no way to treat people. If other companies behaved like that, in that way, they'd soon have no customers and go bust.
In Düsseldorf, we head to the Regional Consumer Protection Agency to meet Anke Herring and Beate Wagner. They have developed a new mobile app called Flight Trouble. Since COVID-19 struck, it's become pretty popular, counting around 600 downloads per day.
The problem people are facing is that there are a huge number of flights that have been cancelled. The airlines send them messages such as, "Your flight has been cancelled, so we'll give you a voucher." But people generally don't want vouchers. They want their money back. Actually, people should get a prepaid ticket refunded within 7 days. It's not always easy to find the right contact address for the airlines. Those addresses are sometimes pretty well hidden. When using our app, a sample letter is generated in English or German. The app automatically completes the right address and sends a letter to the airline.
When flying from an EU member state, the European Union's air passengers' rights regulation must be applied. The prevailing legal norms are clear. If the flights were cancelled, passengers can choose either to get the price of the ticket completely reimbursed or accept another flight. That means a passenger can decide either I want my money back or I agree to accept a voucher to fly at a later date.
Empty terminals and skies mean mounting losses. Will air travel ever be the same again? Who will end up paying for the COVID-19 bill? The cabin crews, customers, companies? In the end, it could be the taxpayer who has to bail out Europe's ailing airlines.